Soccer definitely started for me from a very early age. From the age of 4, I was kicking a soccer ball around, and it's been in our family since I can remember. And since then, I picked it up like any other child. I was playing multiple sports growing up, and soccer seemed to be the sport that I fell in love with after middle school, going into high school, and trying out for different levels of teams, state team, regional teams, and eventually landed a spot on the youth national team. From there, I signed professionally in Europe in 2002, and from there it's been, a fairy tale story thus far. Currently I'm on AC Milan, practicing my trade there in Italy, and I'm very happy. Just recently came off playing the World Cup in South Africa, so right now I'm very pleased with my career and the path that it's taken me thus far, and I'm very excited and anxious to see what the future holds. Well, my injury was I ruptured my left patella tendon, and it happened about 9 months ago, October 14th, 2009. And the occurrence of it was just a regular action in a soccer game, and I guess it was my time for me to be injured at that moment. And a lot of things were going through my head when it happened. Mainly the time frame that was leading up to the World Cup. At that point, there was a lot of doubt as to whether or not I'd be able to be physically fit to compete in the World Cup with the USA. And thank God I was able to do so. I was able to rehab successfully, with the help of a lot of people, and also the Alter G was side by side with me in aiding me to get back in time for this summer. World Cup. Funny enough, I've never heard of the Alter G prior to my injury, but thank God it was in the vicinity of my training grounds in Italy. And funny enough, I walked by it every day, not knowing what the machine was. And when it came time that I needed it, and I saw, I was like, oh, this machine's been here the whole time, and thankfully it was at my disposal every day in order to get me over the hump that I needed in my rehab process. Well, when I first got on the Alter G, I really didn't have any expectations or anything like that, because I had no idea what the machine was about. I just knew what the name was, and that's it. And from the first time I stepped on it and started working out with it, I knew, I was like, wow, any professional team that's serious about what they're doing needs to have one of these for their injured players. Anybody that's serious about rehabbing or getting better or getting where they need to go needs to have one of these. Well, before getting injured, I had no idea what the Alter G was or what it was about. After using the machine, I found out that it's actual NASA technology that allows anybody. It doesn't have to be a professional athlete. It could be a mother of a family, a senior citizen, or a high school student, or anybody that has injuries to their lower body, to effectively use the machine to run, to work out by lowering their body weight and not putting extra stress on their troubled areas. From the first time I was able to step on Alter G, I noticed an immediate difference. It's night and day from walking and not being able to run to stepping on this machine and having almost immediately your normal running gait off the bat. So, I was using this throughout my rehab process maybe 2 or 3 times a day, and if I could use it more, I'd be doing it. I think in essence, this was the reason I was able to get back on the field in such a quick manner in 6 months, as opposed to the normal 8 to 12 months of my specific injury. So, I owe it all to the Alter G, and if I didn't have it, I don't know where I'd be right now. I think in terms of any injury in sports, there's a physical side as well as a mental side, and I think the mental side plays a little bit on the time frame of the injury, if you're going to be back in time for the season or a specific event, or how long it's going to take you to do whatever. And you set goals for yourself, and definitely that was in my case. I wanted to make it back in time for the World Cup, and I knew that I had a small window, and the Alter G allowed me to do so